$3 million
Yeah.
Stradivarius. And there were armed guards undercover on the scene.
I believe it.
You know that somebody is not going to come up with a blow dart. Are you ready?
I was born ready, Jonathan.
Oh, wow, that's right. Jonathan, you and my mom.
Yeah, the Jonathan Peckman podcast.
That's right.
My favorite show.
The Jonathan Peckman podcast.
Sure, you should use that name. I
know
always
what?
thought you should use that.
I might. Connecticut Valley School of Music and Dance. Beautiful downtown Portland, Connecticut. Come over the bridge, pull a U. You park in front of the music store with the red neon light. Like and subscribe. Tell your friends. Tell your plants. Tell your pets. And have your own podcast here in our beautiful studio. Dave will tell you how. We're here. This is your third time here. You might be the first hat trick.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? I'm honored. Jeez.
You would have been back, except if you recall, the second time, unfortunately, it was when Eamon.
That was a sad.
So that was
circumstance,
that was an extracurricular. So, but
looking back on that was like what a trip that was. Playing in Riders. It was,
boy, yeah.
14 shows booked for that year. He made it to 3.
Oh, yeah, that's still a stunner.
Oh, we were canceling shows left and right. He was having seizures. He ended up in the hospital. But that's history now, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun while it lasted.
And you, at one point, you were Robbie Krieger and Jim Morrison.
Yeah, I was that 2 times. We did a tribute to him. We were booked at Crystal Bees the weekend after he passed away, and we didn't want to cancel. We said we're just going to go do it, and
it'll be a good
It kind of closure for us. And his sister Lisa, who is a wonderful human being, I said it's got to be okay with her.
Right.
We have to talk to her and make sure it's okay. And she said, yeah, go do it. And we did it, and we sold a lot of tickets, and everybody had a good time.
I'm sure people would want to come.
And there's a lot of YouTube videos of it. Okay. We had a guest keyboard player come in, and I sang half the night, and the keyboard player sang half the night, and John Pell sang L.A. Woman at the end. And it was a blast.
Just like the Doors albums without Jim Morrison. They made a few.
Yeah, I know.
Like run out.
Didn't like Robbie Krieger sue him about that? And John Densmore sued him because he wasn't involved. And they had to start calling it Riders on the Storm. Ooh. So Eamon sued him and said, I own Riders on the Storm. And they had to change the name to Storm Riders or some crazy thing like that.
I remember
welcome to rock and roll, man.
They did the Doors like I don't know. It was like after Jim Morrison died, the 3 of them.
Oh, I didn't
know.
They
just had to burn their contract. Like
exactly. You guys aren't getting out of this. Yeah. Like Grand Funk walking out on their contract 13 weeks before it was up.
Oh.
Lost everything. Lost the name, their gear. Terry Knight sued the pants off them. And he said, what was wrong with these guys? They had 13 more weeks to go.
Yeah.
And they would have walked away with all of it. They had to change it from Grand Funk Railroad to Grand Funk because they didn't own the name anymore. Oh yeah, it was a fiasco. I
wonder what. Now we got to find out why. Like I can't see this dude I will pay $14 million not to see this dude for another 12 weeks.
This is
that's crazy.
I saw an interview with Don Brewer, the drummer, and he said we were so fed up, so sick and tired that Mel, the bass player, we were in the hotel room, and he said for 2 cents, I would pack up and go home right now. He said I threw 2 cents on the bed. We left.
Whoa.
We left the Rolls Royce in the parking lot of the airport, and we never looked back. And lo and behold, the lawyers were calling the next day. They completely walked out on their contract.
I would love to. I got to know more about that story.
Yeah, it's a good one.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Well, they had. You've played 6 nights a week for who knows how long, and you get to a point where you go, I just want to go home.
Yeah, and maybe they weren't. Like I would suck it up now. As adults, you'd be like, okay.
Yeah, well, this is
I'll stab you when this is over.
Right,
exactly. But like, let's
get through this.
Let's get through this. But back then, you're probably on drugs.
They're all stoned all the time. And they're just burnt out and tired.
And you think you'll have plenty of chances. This isn't your last chance. Like, we'll just burn this one and we'll be fine.
Well, they came back with Todd producing that album and had American Band, which was their biggest hit.
Oh, okay.
Under Grand Funk.
Well, you know what? I need to.
Yeah, it's a good story.
Yeah,
it's a really good one. I don't know if they did it behind the music on it or not, but I forget where I.
Sounds like
a
documentary.
Yeah, I forget where I watched it, but it was like they were like, we're done. We just screw it. Let's go home.
I'd like to learn more about that story.
And they lost like $60 million by doing that, and their name, and they confiscated all their gear, everything. Terry Knight took it all. He said, "It's mine, man."
Wow.
You guys aren't gonna do this. You lose.
They erased their memory of the sex they had with the groupies. Like they deprogrammed any pleasure that they derived from.
Yeah, it gets to be too much, you know. I mean, like my job I have now, I can't wait to retire.
Is that official? You're saying that on?
I'm saying that everybody that I work with know this. I'm retiring the second I can.
Really?
As soon as I can afford to get out of there. Oh, it's killing my hands.
You heard right. You love the people. That's not
Oh,
what you're
people I
saying.
work with, I
Okay,
love.
that's not what you're saying.
Most of them.
Yeah.
The-
There's always that one.
or two.
Steve and Bill, whatever. I just made it up. I have no idea.
I ain't gonna say no. But most of the people I work with, I love. But it's the job. It's like wrenching and doing stuff like that for my old arthritic hands. And now it's like I want to be able to, when I retire, still go play music.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And if I keep going, I'm gonna be crippled in my
That's
hands.
not worth it.
No, not
for
at
the
all.
job.
Not
Yeah,
at
I'm
all.
starting to feel a little arthritis right here.
I got it here in like there. And it's from doing stuff all the time. You know, and it's osteoarthritis. My doctor says, which they call wear and tear arthritis.
Okay.
So
And that just
it can be reversed, but you got to stop wearing and tearing. You know what I mean? So my sister gave me this cool thing. It's a wax.
Oh, by the way,
melting-
Skip LeClair plays guitar.
Oh,
by
yeah.
the way. Go back and
kind of.
get the life story of the other.
I play guitar.
One of my oldest, yes, I've known him since I was a little kid. He was friends with my older
3
sister.
years old you were.
Yep, I was a little whippersnapper. Skip is the best guitar player ever. He still is. He's always the one.
Oh, shucks.
And anyway, go ahead. I just
So,
because we went right into
Funk.
funk,
Grand Funk. We're doing a lot of Grand Funk in this new band I'm in.
which we're going to talk
And
about.
the singer is unbelievable.
Okay.
Nicest guy ever. I'll tell you a story of how I met him. So my sister gave me this thing, and it's a tub of wax, and it melts paraffin wax to the point where you almost can't stand it.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you dip your hand in it, and you pull it out, and you dip it in like 4 or 5 times, and you engulf your hand, and the wax starts to harden, and then you put these plastic mitts on, and then you leave it on for a half an hour. And you can take the wax off, and it's your hand. you know?
Yeah.
But the wax gets deep into the muscles, and it is so nice.
Wow.
I do it every night.
Interesting.
It's warming up right now as we speak. So when I get home, the first thing I'm going to do is
It's
dip
like
my,
a paraffin.
It's paraffin.
frickin-
It's what it is. Paraffin, and it's really hot. And when I was a kid, my aunt worked in New York City, and she used to drop me off at Manny's and stuff. And that's a good story too, where I discovered Ernie ball strings. But they had one at her physics. She was a physical therapist, and they had one at the place she worked that you could put your whole body in if you wanted to.
Nice.
And I used to sit there all day and just dunk my arm in it, and let the wax harden, peel the wax off. Do it
Oh,
all day long,
right.
all
I
day long.
see. Wow.
But my sister just got me a little one. I didn't
Crazy.
even know you could buy them. But it's a godsend.
Like a paraffin bath or
It's
something.
exactly
or
what
whatever.
it is. And the wax just stays warm and hot, and it works.
That
So
makes sense.
any of you people with serious hand issues, get one. I recommend it. They're like $100, and
Wow.
so good.
Okay.
So good.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
I'll be needing it in another couple of years.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm 66 now, man. I'm starting to feel my hands are starting to tell me, you gotta slow down, man.
No, I mean, they're fine now, but like if I jerk myself or play a gig, I start to feel it.
Well,
right
Doug
here.
LaChapelle, he told me he can't even hold drumsticks anymore. And he's been doing like what I do. He's doing the trades for his whole life. And I tried to get him up to play. When we
Right.
did the final gig, he goes, I can't hold drumsticks. He said, I can't play, at all. Which is sad because I always thought he was a great drummer.
Yeah. That's a tragedy.
Yeah, no, wear yourself out.
Getting old, it happens.
I am old.
I know. Well,
Hey, we're lucky we get to get old.
hey,
Some people don't.
No,
you
hey,
know?
you know what? That's what I'm saying. I'm not complaining. Yeah, I feel like I'm in the bubble right now, feeling good. Like no major, no issues, no health issues. Walking upright, doing my thing, like I'm fine.
Yeah.
Gigs take a little chunk out of me, but I'm fine. I get the feeling the next 5 years is when it's,
Well,
you know,
what?
maybe.
I'll say this: take care of yourself, and
I'm trying.
Pay very close attention to your diet,
Mm.
because I had all kinds of stomach issues for years. And one day I just said, you know what? I'm not eating red meat anymore. I'm not gonna
Paul was
eat
doing that.
salty stuff.
Yeah.
And this and that stuff. And I make chicken soup like weekly. And my GI doctor, how old am I? GI doctor.
Yeah.
She said, "You're doing the right thing." And
Yeah, I'm
I've
getting
weighed 140 for the past 25 years, and it's never changed. And
Must be amazing.
I don't get as much exercise as I should. I mean, my job does it for me.
Yeah.
But Yeah, your diet is so
Yeah,
much to do.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
Getting there.
You gotta start liking foods that you didn't like.
Yeah,
You
I know.
Stuff like that.
I know.
Take your fiber.
I know.
Yeah.
I hear
90% of Americans only get about 20% of the fiber that they're supposed to get. So I get gummies.
Oh, boy.
They taste like Dots candy. They taste exactly like those Dots candies.
Oh, really?
Oh, they're delicious.
Oh, no.
I want to eat them, but you're only supposed to have 3 a day. It's like I want to eat the whole jar.
Yeah, I never got into that.
Getting old, kid.
I know.
Tell you, I'm getting old. I could go any day. I hope I
Hey.
go today. I didn't go yesterday.
Tell me about this band.
Oh.
We're all psyched.
It's very cool.
This, can you see it?
That's Element 115.
Okay, what does that mean, first of all?
Okay,
Let's start right
I
there.
couldn't wait to tell you this because I had to find out what this meant. What the hell is Element 115? Element 115 is a synthesized, highly radioactive, super heavy element created in laboratories that has absolutely no biological or industrial use whatsoever. So why make it?
Like silly putty.
And
Like
it,
nothing.
yeah, but silly putty was fun.
Oh, yeah.
What is this stuff? I got a funny feeling that some mad scientist asshole said, "Oh, I know something we can make really badass weapons with." But it turns out it deteriorates so fast. I just read all about it. It deteriorates so fast that they can only study 1 or 2 atoms of it before it's gone. So it's like, what does it do?
So totally synthetic.
Totally synthetic,
What,
highly radioactive, super heavy element, and its number is 115 on the periodic table. So it's element 115. It's called, oh God, what's the real name?
So it's like a byproduct, like
No, somebody makes it. It's synthesized from who knows what. What's the name of it?
of no use.
Mavonium is the real name of it. It's absolutely useless. God giving man free will might not have been the best idea in the world.
Right,
You know what I mean? Because somebody thought this up and invented it. Anyway, the band.
So what nerd in the band?
No,
I can't even
well,
imagine.
John Lisek came up with the name, and John is a fantastic drummer. Like I told you, he's got more drums than a music store.
Wow.
And I just got a call out of the blue, and it was right after I turned on the Bill Rowan thing, and he said, "I've been asking around for guitar players, and I have Elliot Lewis from Hall & Oates,
Oh,
but Elliot wants to go tour and do his record that he just made and go out by himself
Sure.
with a drum machine and this and that.
Oh,
so,
boy.
So apparently he wants to, I don't know, fail on his own.
Sure.
So he goes, but I've been asking around and I talked to everybody and your name just keeps coming up.
Right.
And I had no idea who he was.
Oh.
So automatically I think, is this guy for real?
Yeah,
You know me, I'm skeptical because everybody.
We've been through,
Thank you.
we've done it all.
Right. So we start talking. He goes, well, I got Lori Ladonna. She's worked with Prince and Cyndi Lauper, and I've got the singer from Kansas Sticks Foreigner,
Whoa.
Dave Lawson, who is
Yeah.
absolutely amazing. I mean, he
I would
started
imagine
singing.
so.
He started singing, and I was like,
Wow.
who are you? And we have a young guy named Peter Deere on bass. He's a young guy. I don't think he's got a lot of experience, but he's a good player and a really nice guy. We have a percussionist, Eddie Vargo, who has a percussion set that wouldn't even fit in this room.
Yeah.
And he's great. And he also plays drums, so they switch off percussion
Oh,
and drums.
nice.
And me on guitar, of course.
Yeah.
All these guys and one guitar player.
Wow.
So
That's cool. That
5 great singers.
Whoa.
So I'm walking into the studio, and John gives me the directions to his house. It's way at the end of this dead-end street, almost out in the woods.
Where?
Stratford.
Okay.
Stratford. So I'm walking in the house, and out
And
the...
we don't know him as a drummer from
I
our
don't-
scene?
No, because he's more of a New York City guy.
Okay.
So you know what I mean?
Okay.
And he's not from our scene, but he played in Sacred Fire, which was the Santana tribute.
Okay.
With my buddy Dave Abrams.
Okay.
And Dave asked me to be a singer in that band a few years ago, but I didn't want to just be a singer.
Yeah.
I feel naked without a guitar.
Right.
Can I hold the guitar and fake it?
Yeah.
Like the guy in Kansas, the second singer, remember,
Really?
just held the guitar in the video.
Oh, really?
Just held it. and
I
sang.
didn't know that.
Yeah, it's hilarious. It's hilarious.
Funny.
So I'm walking in the place, and out the front door comes this guy, and he goes, "I'm not a betting man, but I'm willing to bet you're Skip." And I said, "See, you should play the lottery, man. You would have won that bet." He goes, "I'm Dave. I'm your singer." And I'm going, "Okay, let's."
And he's from down that way, too.
He's from Northford.
Oh, wow.
He lives in Northford.
Ooh.
Yeah, right,
Okay.
2 miles from me.
All right.
So anyway,
Beautiful.
I had no idea he was from KSF, who I've seen. I saw them. They played the Wallingford Green Town Hall concert thing.
Okay.
I was blown away.
Oh, wow.
They do Kansas, Styx, and Foreigner.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
guy,
Yeah, that's crazy.
kills
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
Like not good, like amazing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So we do Smoking by Boston.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's nuts.
kills it.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, yeah.
We're doing foot stomping music by Grand Funk. I mean, try sing that stuff. I can't.
No.
You know.
No.
So and he could do Paul Rogers.
Yeah, right.
Close your
well, it's
eyes.
like I have the Zeppelin Bad Company tribute band.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't know the singer, and the first thing is, how's the singer? And Tracy's like, he's awesome.
Yeah, he is.
Because that's it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it'd be like,
Yeah, why bother?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So well, anyway, I'm thinking, okay, he's a singer. This and that.
Sure.
We have another guy, Kevin's last name, Kevin Cameron, who's a singer and he plays trumpet.
Okay.
So we have two lead singers basically, three, background singers.
Yeah.
Me and the two keyboard players, and they're both outstanding players. And Lori's great, and everybody in the band is a stellar person. And we're 8-piece. There's 8 of us.
Oh.
And the problem with being an 8-piece band is your phone is blowing up.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
all day long. Every
I know.
day. So,
Text threads.
so we start playing and we open the rehearsal. Now we've all just met
Yeah.
this minute.
Wow.
And we start with Child's Anthem by Toto. I don't know if you've ever heard it. It's an instrumental.
No.
It's a very intense, and Steve Lukather on guitar.
Yeah, sure.
So, and we played that, and right out of the box, I'm like, oh, this is going to be good.
Oh.
So the next song we do, 2 minutes later, is Point of No Return by Kansas.
Sure.
He starts singing.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
I swear to God, I wish I'd seen my face. 'Cause
Yeah, yeah.
I was like this.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Who the hell is this guy? I didn't know he was the singer in KSF. I
Oh,
didn't recognize.
okay.
I
So
didn't recognize.
you're just some dude.
Yeah, just some dude. He could sing. And
you're like, oh, you're that guy. I already. Yeah.
my God, it's like, and he is the friendliest, nicest guy. And where's my new bed buddy? And it turns out, we live very close to each other. So we're doing the gamut of that kind of music. We're not a tribute band by any means.
Sure.
We're doing Grand Funk. We do Tears for Fears. We do Genesis. We do Yes.
Nice.
Oh, geez.
So not prog, but progressive rock.
Yeah,
kinda.
right.
Right.
We're not doing Yes songs like Close to the Edge. We're
Right.
doing like Owner of a Lonely Heart.
Right,
That kind of
right,
stuff.
right.
We're doing Asia.
Oh, nice.
It's all guitar player fun. Because when I saw the set list, that's when I went, I'll at least go check it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? 'Cause if this works, it'll be a blast. And
Yeah.
it turned out to be awesome.
Hey.
First rehearsal, everybody left going, this is going to be killer.
Wow.
Right out of the box. We were a band,
Yeah.
And then we do Talk to You Later by the Tubes.
Nice.
And when I hit that solo in the
Yeah.
end, everybody went,
Yeah, that's the guy.
you got it.
Yeah, you'd be like,
you're
I've been
in.
waiting my whole life to
You're
do
in.
this.
Yeah. Steve Lukather, I love doing his stuff because
Sure.
he's just such a,
That's him on that?
Yeah.
Talk to you later?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's that
cool.
solo
Yeah,
all during
yeah,
the
yeah.
end. Yeah. It's
Cool.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
And poor Steve, man. I saw an interview with him about Spotify. Did you see that?
Not maybe, but yeah.
He said, digital music,
Sure.
what the record labels didn't realize when they put out CDs and stuff was that they were creating their own demise. You know what I mean? The record sale industry.
Yeah.
They just invented their death right there. They didn't know it.
Right.
Because everybody went out and rebought all the records on
Right.
CD. So it was a boom.
Sure.
But
Yeah, I did too.
He said the executives at the labels were against it because they said it opens up the door for piracy. And people are like, what do you mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, it's digital.
Yeah.
And us being analog idiots
Yeah.
at the time, we didn't understand what that meant.
Yeah, yeah.
These guys knew.
They're
So-
just like, it's just.
And then
once-
Napster happened, right?
Right.
So he said, I am the most recorded guitar player in history, maybe next to Tommy Tedesco.
Sure.
Who, he was,
Sure.
right?
Yep.
So, and he said, I've played on every Madonna song, every Michael Jackson song, the Tubes, every Toto song.
Yep.
He said, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Tunes have never given me 1 cent.
Wow.
I've not gotten a penny from
Yeah, that's crazy.
any of those people.
And you're hearing him every
Minute of
of
every
every
day.
day.
Yeah, exactly. And he said, and I'm not alone. They're doing that to everybody. Who's getting this money?
Yeah.
Somebody's getting the money. It's all done through advertising on the sites and
Right.
cookies and all,
Right.
whatever.
Yeah,
I'm digitally retarded. Trust me.
Well, I know what you
Can I
mean.
use that word?
No, I know.
Yeah. I'm digitally challenged.
Challenged,
Yeah,
yeah,
let's
put it
say
that way.
impaired.
Yeah.
But analogly, I'm not. But yeah,
Right.
that whole thing, it just snowballed into just awful things for musicians.
Yep.
that aren't getting paid. And like everybody says, now you have to go out and play to make money,
Yep.
which is why Government Mule goes out
Right.
300 days a year.
Right.
Because we want to get paid.
Right.
We're not selling records.
Right.
And
you used to tour to generate record sales.
And merchandise and all that stuff. And that's where they're making money. They're making good money.
Yeah.
Those bands. But they're not getting paid from these sites. Nothing. It's like, where is it coming from, man? Where's it going? Where's the money going?
Yeah.
But this band is doing, mostly the pre-digital years of music. I'm trying to think of some of the other stuff we do. We do Tears for Fears. We do some really interesting stuff. So we run the gamut of, like, progressive pop rock stuff.
Yeah.
Where it's like, songs that don't have just 3 chords in them.
Yeah.
It's really quite different from what I was doing before. But it's fun. I mean, I got my work cut out for me, no doubt about it. I mean, I have 28 songs to learn.
Whoa.
The first show is at the Bijou Theater in Bridgeport on May 30th. And anybody who wants to go, I have comp tickets, all kinds of stuff. I have tickets for you and Paul if you want to go.
When is it?
May 30th in Bridgeport. And you ever been there?
I think so. I played there with Christine, I think.
Yeah, it's a really small, I think it holds 300 people.
Yeah.
Restored theater from like 1908, but it's really pretty and it sounds good.
Yep.
I saw Pitchell with Jay Giles there.
Okay.
When Jay Giles had his temper tantrum over the guitar cable. I'll tell you that story.
Oh, boy.
Oh, that was almost hilarious.
Oh, no.
I got to tell it.
Yeah.
My brother and I tell a story.
Oh, boy.
Jeff's amp
Oh, no.
poops out.
Okay.
And I'm looking at him going, I always told you to bring fuses. Told you to bring fuses.
Oh, no.
So, see, he has a little practice amp over on the side. So he pulls his wireless out, and he plugs into Jay Giles' amp, which is an old Super Reverb with Jay's cable. And when Jay comes out after the third song, Jay Giles got a cigarette.
Sure.
Got vodka in his hand.
Even though there's no smoking.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
He doesn't care.
I'm
Jay Giles.
Yeah.
Bitch.
That's fine.
So, but no. So
I never met him. I was gone before it.
This is great.
Yeah.
So Jay comes out. Jeff grabs the cable out. And he goes over to his little Fender backstage that he's going to use now because his amp is pooped out. Jay comes over and sees that. Oh, and his tech gives him a cable. He looks at the cable. He throws it on the ground and starts screaming at his tech. And he looks over and he sees that Jeff has his cable. Now, this place only holds 300 people. Nobody's missing this.
Right.
So my brother and I are going, oh, this is.
So what did he think? He thought that.
Jeff took his cable.
Oh, why?
And he didn't want to use the cable that the tech gave him, which is probably the exact same cable.
Yeah.
So he walks over to Jeff and yanks the cable out of Jeff's guitar while he's playing.
Oh, no.
So now we got 2 assholes up there with guitars making no sound.
Oh,
not that Jeff's an asshole. Jeff's my best friend. But it's like, my brother and I are going, can you believe we're seeing this?
Whoa.
And he starts screaming at Jeff.
Oh, no.
In front. And all you hear is drums and bass right now.
Oh, no.
In this little theater. And the whole audience is like,
is this real?
And I remember one guy in back of me goes, I wonder if he's going to sing Wooba Gooba with the green teeth. I go, you have no idea who Jay Giles is.
Yeah.
He thinks he's Peter Wolf. This
totally.
is the Jay Giles guy. But it was hilarious.
Oh,
And at the end of the show, they did a meet and greet after the thing. And Jay, of course, wasn't there. And I walked by Jeff, and Jeff just looks at me like this. Like, oh, man, I can't believe
So
that
he
happened.
thought that Pitchell would just yank his cable? Like, why?
Well, he did. Jeff did take his cable.
Oh.
See, Jeff went over to Jay's amp when his amp broke.
Yeah.
Plugged his guitar in just to get through the song.
Right.
So when Jay came out, Jeff took the cable out of Jay's amp and walked over to his amp and put it in.
Oh.
To the little practice amp. So the tech noticed that Jeff had taken the cable.
Right. So he had another cable.
And he had another cable and he gave it to Jay. And Jay looks at it, he slams
So
it
what
off.
did Jay think? Like, what was he thinking?
Just, I'm a brat.
He just was like, give me that one.
I want my cable.
Let Pitchell scramble.
So he walks over and takes the cable out of Jeff's guitar in the
man.
middle of the song.
Yikes.
And honestly,
I missed that one.
I got to be honest with you. Jay Giles, I was embarrassed for him. He was out of tune, out of time, playing in the wrong modes.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it was.
I didn't. I missed it. I missed all that.
It was not good.
I never. I was gone before that happened.
That's right. You weren't in the band at the time. That's right.
I was there for the Peter Tork years, which was different.
God, I heard about that.
Different stories.
Oh my goodness.
That's all right. Hey, whatever.
I heard the Monkees interrupted his musical career.
I don't want
That's
You know what?
that's
I'm
what he
not gonna
says.
disrespect.
No, me either. I was a huge Monkees fan. I still have
I was
all the
not,
records.
and that might have been the
Oh,
problem.
I was I loved the Monkees. I loved the TV show. I bought all the records. I thought they were good.
I'm not gonna. Let's not diss departed people who can't
Davy
defend themselves.
Jones was so cute.
Yeah, I don't know. I was never. That was not my thing.
Mike Nesmith was a very talented man.
Sure.
He was. I think Mickey Dolenz was too.
Well, okay. I will. One thing I will say.
And Pete was funny.
Yeah. Well, I will say one thing in memory of Peter Tork. The thing that I was surprised by. I was not. He was trying to present himself as a guitar player, which he was not particularly gifted. I'm sorry.
Nor as a bass player in the Monkees.
But then there was one day we were in the dressing room, and there was a piano in the dressing room, and he sat down at the piano and played beautiful. Like he was clearly talented. Like you could see it. And it was like, and I remember. I'm sorry. I should.
It's like, why don't you play piano?
I just was thinking to myself, maybe it's just a matter of editing because he was not a no talent person.
No, I'm sure he was.
But I mean, when he got on that piano, I saw it and I thought to myself, so you don't really know what you're good at. I have to stop talking.
Well, he didn't. I remember.
But I mean,
Monkees,
that's
but
part of the gig.
I remember
you know.
on some of the Monkees on the TV show when there was a piano part, he would be the guy playing the piano in the thing. But of course, he wasn't really playing. It was the Wrecking Crew.
Right.
It was those.
I'm
guys,
just saying
like
what
Tom
I
Tedeschi.
saw was I thought, why aren't you? But maybe he didn't want to play piano. He wanted to play guitar.
That's it. Yeah. I wanted to play drums when I was a kid.
I wanted to play bass.
And my parents were like, "You're not getting a drum set; they're too loud."
Right.
So they got me a guitar.
Right. Yeah. I'll show them.
Yeah. Little did they know, I got an amp later.
Oh boy. Yeah. I wanted to play bass. I didn't want
Really?
to play drum. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you played drums because you turned out to be a really good drummer.
Well,
man.
thank
You're
you.
One of my favorites.
Oh, thanks. Well, you know that story. So, Music Inc.
Oh yeah.
I wanted to be a bass player. My parents, God bless them, I came home from school. I was making bases out of cardboard. Once I figured out,
That's cool.
Once
I made
I-
a drum set out of waste paper baskets when I was a kid.
Once I figured out what the bass was, when I saw Gene Simmons on the Paul Lynde show, and I figured out the difference between a 4-string and a 6-string, and that the bass was making the evil sound. That's what I wanted to do.
Well, you still do play bass a little bit, don't you?
Yeah.
You showed me some cool stuff
Yeah.
once.
So my parents bought me a bass and an amp down at Music Inc. You know, and made me sign a contract saying that I had to take a bath every other day, and had to keep my room. I had to sign a contract, which I did.
I love it.
And they signed me up for drum lessons, and it was, I don't know if you remember him. I remember because I took like 5 lessons. Danny Marcuccio. Does that name ring
I
a bell?
do.
Okay.
Yeah. I remember the name. I can't place his face.
So-
but I remember you ended up taking lessons from Vic.
So
there, too.
totally cool guy. So I would show up for my bass lessons downstairs where Jake's used to be, whatever.
Oh,
it is
yeah,
now.
yeah.
I can go and I can see on the floor where the room was. There's still discoloration where the teaching room was. And I took a couple of bass lessons, never practiced, couldn't remember the names of the notes. There was a drum kit in the room, and I was fooling around on drums when I would visit my uncle in Pittsburgh. And Danny went up to use the bathroom, and I hopped on the drums, and he came downstairs and said, "You play drums?" And I said, "What?" I said, "No, I'm just fooling around." He's like, "You should play drums.
You're really good.
Let me introduce you to Vic, who was upstairs." And that was the drum teacher, and that's how.
Vic's a great drummer.
He is a great drummer.
I always thought he was a great drummer.
And he was the right drummer for me because he stopped it right away. Like, he was like, "You're going to play songs, you're going to sit in the pocket, and that's the way it's going to be."
Yeah, I always liked playing with him because I played with him with Harvey and Joe at a party one day, and I'd always seen Vic play.
Sure.
But when I played with him that time, it was like, this guy makes it easy for you.
That's the way, right.
And that's what a great drummer does.
That
It
was
makes it easy. It gives me this big, huge pocket where I could just wander all over the place, and I never get lost. You know, that's a great drummer.
And I was lucky because he was he still is my hero, but he was my hero.
Yeah,
So-
I'm sure.
so
'cause
if
what were
he
you,
was saying-
7,
Right.
You were like,
But if he was saying, "Oh, you got to do this, you got to play this lick and that fancy lick," but he was just like, "I'm going to show you how to groove," and that's it.
yeah, and to do the rest, you'll figure out.
The rest you'll
like
figure out.
I did have guitar lessons. Everybody said, Skip never had lessons. I did have lessons when I was at Eve's Music Shop in Wallingford, little tiny place next to the New York Bakery.
Oh yeah.
Music Inc. kind of put them out of business.
Oh.
It was a little mom and pop. They sold records,
Oh boy.
and the entire store was this big.
Oh wow.
They had a couple of used guitars and a piano, And that's where I learned how to put a guitar string on correctly from Doug Schlink from the Scratch Band. I was like 12.
Yeah.
He had no shoes on, and
Oh, wow.
it was a mess. But he showed me how to put a guitar string on the correct way when I was like 12 years old. But I took lessons from this guy named Roger. And Roger, he was like 16. He sat there and smoked cigarettes while I went through the Mel Bay book. And after about 5 lessons, this sounds like I'm bragging when I say this,
Well,
but it's true. He came down and said, I got to give him to Ron Stebbins because he's already better than me.
Hey.
And I was like 8. So,
Hey, man.
and
They're out there. I have a few freaks on drums.
yeah,
that
no,
are
I'm
little.
sure I've had them too. Like
Yeah.
Desiree Bassett, 11 years old, took 1 lesson from me. I told her father, she don't need lessons, man.
Yeah.
Just leave her alone. She's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Guitar player. So I go to Ron Stebbins, and Ron's a real jazz guy. He looked just like Hank Hill from King of the Hill. Looked just like him. The glasses. Hey, you're a good player. And he wanted me to learn how to read music.
Yeah.
And do all this stuff. So he had me reading music. This lasted about maybe 8-10 months. And he came downstairs one day, and my mom was there picking me up, and he said, well, I think I've taken him about as far as he can go. He was just like Hank Hill. And he said, he wants to rock.
Yeah.
This kid wants to rock. So my mom said, do you still want to take lessons? And I said, no.
Right.
So I went home. I sat in my bedroom, and I figured it all out.
Put on Grand Funk Volume 1 or whatever.
Back then, I was listening to Creedence Clearwater Revival.
Right.
And I'm glad I did.
Hey, man.
Because that was great stuff. And
Nothing
then
wrong with that.
it really happened for me when the first Queen album came out.
Right.
Right before that, it was Rick Derringer and Johnny Winter.
Sure.
Those are my guys.
Yeah,
I mean, I want to play like that. I want to do that. So I basically perfected that kind of thing. But when I heard Queen,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is amazing.
Yeah,
I've never
yeah.
heard a guitar do that before. So I basically woodshedded the first Queen album. And when I was about 15, my brother came down one day, I think, and he said, Bob, you getting it, man.
Yeah, you're doing it.
You got it. You got it. And then next thing I knew, I was in a band.
Hey.
You know,
That's the way
playing
it
out,
goes.
actually.
That's the way it goes.
Basement of the train station in Wallingford. Did I tell
Yeah.
you that one?
Maybe.
My first gig ever.
Yeah, I think so.
I was 14. We sold it out.
Hey, nice.
All 80 people.
What was the name of the band?
Eastfield Tower.
Hey.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Everybody was like 17, 18.
Yeah.
Man, I was like 14. That's the
Maybe my sister was there. She might have been. You
And
never know.
what, thinking back, I've only auditioned for one band in my life,
Right.
and I didn't get it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I didn't get the gig.
You didn't need that. Kid.
No, I did. I'm glad I didn't get it. But that's so funny. One band, and I didn't get it. It was like a wedding type band.
Sure.
You know, but every other band was just like, hey, can you start tomorrow?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
You know,
Me
and even
too.
since I was 14, yeah, you too, because your name rings out, and I'm very, very proud of myself these days.
Hey, man.
Because my phone, I get phone calls all the time. Would you do this project? And I turn down 95% of the things that I get, like the thing we talked about
Yep.
that
Yep.
you got blown off
Yep.
from.
Yep.
I was on the fence with that from the get-go
Yeah.
because I knew the style of music he
Yeah,
liked,
yeah, yeah.
and I was like, that's really not my cup of tea.
Not
He
your-
wanted me more for my voice,
Right.
for singing,
That's fine.
and that's fine too, right? But
Well,
he-
you held out, and it worked out.
yeah, and like I said, I brought Frank DiCiccio with me because he's one of my favorite drummers,
Yeah.
rock guy, talk
Yeah.
about a groove guy, and he's a swell guy.
Yeah.
I saw him play when I was 14 in the basement of Holy Trinity Church with a band called Long Sunday Drive.
Okay.
LSD. They this is amazing. Their first song, the whole first side of Thick as a Brick from Jethro.
Oh boy.
And my jaw was on the ground.
Yeah, here we
And
go.
Frank was like 17, maybe.
Yeah, doing it.
Unbelievable.
That's cool.
And then he ended up in Oreo with Papo, and
Yep.
and he was the original drummer in Oreo all the way to the end.
Oh wow.
All the way to the end. They never had another drummer.
If we'll
They
get him
didn't
in-
change many guys in that.
Get
band.
him in here.
They were just really, really good friends, you know.
Cool.
Really great band.
Whoops, I unplugged myself. So, Element 115.
Element 115. Yeah, and I'm glad it's so many different types of stuff because I get to use all my guitars. Which is really cool.
Right.
You know, I got the Les Paul, I got the SG, I got the EVH Wolfgang, which you can't put down,
Yep.
and my trusty old Strat and a Tele.
Nice.
So, yeah,
That's
so
it.
I'm playing like 4 or 5 different guitars.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
No, it's cool, except I got to carry them.
Well, not for long. You never know.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping. Well, this is moving more towards New York than every other band that I've been in, because they seem to like to go north.
Okay.
For some reason.
Yeah.
And this is more that Stanford kind of area thing.
That's all right.
No, it's great. That's wicked good. So yeah, playing Bridgeport, the first gig, and
Killer.
we're looking at the Kate and Daryl's house,
Yep.
and all
that
those places.
Yep.
Yeah, no bars, no restaurants, none of that.
Right. Well, we can. Yeah, that's kind of how
I
it's
just
going.
don't want to do that anymore.
No, I don't think you have to. We don't have to.
No, we don't have to. Exactly right. We're at the point
Because people our age that are going to come see us would rather go somewhere nice and sit down.
right,
So it all works
they'd
out.
rather pay $50 for a ticket,
Right.
than to sit at the Mona Lisa in a little smoky or
Right.
restaurant that stinks like garlic.
Yeah, and then they won't pay $5 to a cover. They won't pay $5 to go into a club to see you. But they'll pay $30 to go into a theater. That's fine.
Well, they can sit
That works
down.
out.
They can have a cocktail.
It starts at a
and-
reasonable hour. They're out.
Right.
They don't have to sit there watch you for 4 hours.
Me
and go,
too.
okay, great.
I play for
Right.
90 minutes and I'm
Right.
home by 11.
Right.
That's
Well,
it. I'm on matinees, baby.
Yeah, it's kind of the way
Sunday
it is.
afternoons.
Sounds like that's the way it's working out.
Yeah, well, no, that's what we should be doing.
Yep.
At this stage of the game, because we paid our dues for so long that the club owes us money. That's the way I look at
Right.
it. You know?
And the kids are in the clubs or they're not. It doesn't matter.
Right.
We're not, we don't belong there.
Right. And you're right. The club clientele is 21 to 30.
Right.
They don't want to hear me.
Right.
Yeah, some
Sad
do.
to say.
Some do.
But it
you
is
know?
true.
Well, that's why the Element 15, the slogan on the bottom says generation to generation. It's because we're trying to reach out to the 21-year-olds to the 65-year-olds.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Because everybody likes live music. And everybody
Yeah,
likes
yeah.
to go out and have a good time.
Yeah.
And, it's not COVID anymore. There's no more quarantine. You go out and have fun again.
Right.
It's like, being in America again.
Yeah. And I
Which-
also
which is
feel
cool.
like, especially with youngsters, I find now they're not bound by genre like we were. Their identity isn't based on what kind of music they like. If it's good, they like it. They don't even know it's old. Like I have kids, they don't even know Led Zeppelin's old. If they like it, they like it.
New to them.
Yeah, and I still think like, I don't want to push this stuff on them because it's old guy rock. They don't care. If it's good, they like it.
My kids, they aren't kids anymore. Evan's 34 and Desi's 28.
Whoa.
Yeah, Desi lives in England.
Oh,
And
wow.
Yeah, it's cool. But they like everything.
Right.
They know every Led Zeppelin song.
Right.
They know every Beatles song.
Yeah.
They know every My Chemical Romance song.
Right.
And they like all of it. They like it if it's good.
Right.
Right. And if it's
Right.
crap, they don't like it.
Right.
But my son has turned me on to some great music that I never knew existed. And I've done that to them when they were little. I kind of didn't push it on them, but when I was playing music, you were hearing Stevie Ray Vaughan and Hendrix and Led Zeppelin and the good stuff, Humble Pie and stuff. So that kind of subliminally, I think, got into their mind. It's like this is good shit, man.
You recognize it when it's good.
Right. Exactly.
I hear you.
Yeah, we're doing Beatles. We're doing Hey Bulldog, like rock and stuff. I want to get the band to do I Am the Walrus because, listen, Crack the Sky does a version of I Am the Walrus.
Oh, really?
Blow your mind.
Wow.
They're one of the best bands I've ever seen in
Cool.
my life.
Never saw him.
Oh, I've studied them.
Oh, really?
They are, I would call them a progressive hard rock jam band.
Where are they from?
Maryland.
Oh, wow.
Oh, they're late 70s.
Oh.
Like mid to late 70s.
Oh, wow.
Radio never touched them.
Wow.
I discovered them through Danny, our keyboard player. He had Crack the Sky live. What's funny is the album starts out, "Good evening, boy and girl.
Yeah.
This band came all the way down from an acid trip just to play for you.
Oh, boy.
Ladies and gentlemen, Crack the Guy."
Yeah,
It's
yeah, I know.
hilarious. But they're a real sense of humor, but the playing is mind-blowing.
Huh.
They do a song, Ice, in the middle of the set, which jams, it's got to go for 17 minutes.
Oh, boy.
They bring the dynamics in this song down so quiet, you can hear people talking
Yeah.
in a big theater.
Yeah.
And then they're back up roaring like Led Zeppelin at their peak. You'll love them. Crack the Sky, check them out.
Huh.
They're still playing. They're still
And they're
out
in
there
their
playing.
70s?
Yep.
Did you see the Led Zeppelin movie in IMAX? I did.
No. Everybody said it's good.
It was out in Southington, whatever. I went. And
I would
I
like.
saw it.
I'd
It
like
was
to,
cool.
I'd love to see it.
We
not
already
in
know
IMAX.
there was nothing we didn't know.
Right, of course.
But IMAX was cool. That was a
Yeah.
cool experience to see it.
What I
that
loved
way.
about Led Zeppelin was Peter Grant. Well, you think about Peter Grant, Led Zeppelin would never, ever have been as big as they were without him.
True.
He was like this ruthless guy. And he was like, they get 90%, you guys get 10. If you don't like it, we'll go home.
Yeah. We'll go
no, just stay. Let him stay. Let him play. And Atlantic Records. Ahmet Ertegun said, Peter Grant told me, you never walk into that studio while they're in there. He goes, I own it. He goes, I don't care. You never walk in there. And he goes, once I met them, they're the nicest guys in the world.
Yeah, right.
He was creating. He was creating a mystique. And it worked.
Yeah.
It really worked. They don't sign autographs. They have their own private.
No singles.
Right. Then they don't do interviews and stuff. But when you met them, they were the nicest guys you ever met.
Yeah, right.
Queen was the same way.
Yeah.
They were the nicest people ever. Very approachable. Brian May was one of the nicest human beings I've ever met in my life.
Wow.
Yeah.
I bet.
One of the smartest too.
Yeah, I bet. I can imagine that.
Very, very cool guys. And when you hear their music, you can tell they probably are pretty good people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the Beatles, they had to be good guys.
Yeah.
And they really loved each other. I mean, the Beatles, they were friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like when George said he didn't want to tour anymore, they never toured again.
Right.
He said, I'm tired of girls scratching my skin off and ripping my hair out and this and that. And they said, fine, we won't tour.
Yeah, we don't.
And that opens up a whole new world for them.
Crazy.
Because now we don't have to play stuff we need to play live.
Crazy.
We can just make records.
I have a question for you.
What's that?
All right. So I had a guest on a few weeks ago, a drummer, and we were talking about vintage drums. He made an interesting point that I was like, Dan Volpe is his name. I don't know if you would know him. He's a drummer. Really cool guy, really smart. And we were talking about gear and vintage gear. And I never thought of this. He said that when it comes to vintage gear, particularly drums in our conversation, before the Beatles were on Ed Sullivan, Ludwig drums, everything was better. But then they had to mass produce after the Beatles were on Ed Sullivan because Ludwig, all the kids wanted to buy them. So they started cutting corners. And that's when the quality starts to slide. Is there a guitar? Is that true of guitars too? Like the golden age, you know what I mean? Like you're making cars out of a whale's tusk because it's, and then you have to.
Perfect example. The Gibson 59 Les Paul.
I just never thought of that. The drums.
Right. Same. The 59 Les Paul, I have a reissue.
Okay.
It's really nice now.
Sure.
The 59 Les Paul is revered as the holy grail of guitars. They're $1 million if they were never even owned by anybody.
Sure.
You get one from a celebrity, they're $2 billion.
Yeah, Rick Nielsen has 10 of them.
You're right. Joe Bonamassa has 13 of them. He just bought one for $1 million.
Oh, God.
So the 60 comes out, and it's the same thing, and it's just as good. But in 61, the Fender Stratocaster is outselling the crap out of it. So because it's lighter.
Okay.
It's got 3 pickups.
Okay.
It's got the whammy bar. So they come out with the new Les Paul, which the next year became the SG, and I'll tell you why. I talked to Les Paul about this. It had 3 pickups. It was the white SG with the 3 pickups and the whammy bar.
Right.
That's a Les Paul custom.
Okay.
A 61. Now, I have a 61 Les Paul custom reissue.
Okay.
A standard reissue, but it's my SG. So Les.
So I would look at it and think it's an SG, but it's actually
technically a Les Paul if it's a 61.
Right. Okay. I got
because
you. Because
it's thin, light. It's what the kids want.
Right.
So Les Paul looks at it. He goes, "This is a piece of crap. Take my name off, and I'm not endorsing it."
Oh.
So they had to change the name. So they came up with Solid Guitar
SG.
I swear to God.
Oh.
But it turns out everybody loved them. You see more SGs through the 60s and 70s.
What do they have?
They play like butter.
Okay.
Oh, my SG, I can't.
As opposed to the Les Paul.
Les Paul is heavy.
Okay.
It's heavy and bulky, but there's a sound to it.
Yep.
That
But the SG is just it's thin and it's ready
and it
to
has
roll.
its own resonance to it because it's fragile.
Okay.
I mean, if you go like this, you can hear it going because the neck joint is so weak.
Oh.
And that's what Les Paul didn't like about
I say that's why Pete Townsend's shaking it around.
Yeah, it goes. It's almost a whammy bar in itself.
Oh.
So Les hates the guitar,
Okay.
and he says, "Take my name off it."
Yeah.
And he had nothing to do with designing the Les Paul. That was Ted McCarty. But they wanted Les to endorse it, and he said, "If you want me to endorse it, you have to put my name on it." Little
I see.
ego trip going there.
Sure, why not?
So, okay, they stopped making Les Pauls
Yeah.
in 1961.
Okay.
Jimmy Page comes back out with Led Zeppelin.
Uh-huh.
Everybody wants a Les Paul. So in 1968,
Because he's got a 58 or 59.
that was a 60.
Okay.
Joe Walsh gave him that guitar.
Right.
Because he was playing a telly.
So they were just laying around.
Yeah,
Those
they were everywhere.
because everyone moved on.
Harvey had a 58 in his shop in mint condition. He sold it for $6,000.
Right.
You know, jumped the gun on that one.
Sure.
But yeah, Rick Nielsen's got 10 of them. He's got like 5 V's too, 58s. So now Gibson comes back out with the Les Paul, but now Gibson is owned by a company called Norlin.
Okay.
And they want to make them fast.
And this
fast
is
as
what
they
year?
Can. 68, late 68, early 69. Led Zeppelin. So it's coming out.
Okay.
So when Led Zeppelin 2 came out, everybody wants a Les Paul. So,
but they're not buying. They're not getting the 59. They're getting the 69.
They're all buying the new ones, right?
Yeah.
And I had a 68, and he just showed me his. He's got one too.
Wow. So that was when the boom happened.
Right.
Les Pauls are back in.
So by 1973, Norlin is making Les Pauls out of like 9 pieces of wood. Horrible boat anchor heavy hunks of junk.
Okay.
Really.
Yeah.
You're lucky you got one of the last. They got one of the last good ones.
Yeah.
One of the first good ones.
Yeah.
You know? And if you play a 1974 Les Paul, it's a dog.
Oh.
It's a dog.
I see.
And they're making them fast as they can make them.
Wow.
So good example.
Yeah.
Mass production.
Yeah.
That never happened to Fender because Fender started as a mass production company. Leo got it right the first time.
Okay.
That's why he was outselling Gibson.
So he didn't have to cut a corner. He just stayed the course.
Just stayed the course. So a 52 Telly is exactly the same guitar as a 65 Telly.
I see.
He got it right the first time.
Okay.
And I just read a really good book my son gave me for Christmas called The Birth of Loud.
Oh.
And it was Gibson and Fender trying to get a guitar made of solid wood so it wouldn't feed back when you cranked it up.
Right.
Leo had this thing he used to test pickups on. It was a little chunk of wood with a neck on it. And guys used to rent it from him so they could go to gigs and play, loud with the drums and get over the drums.
Yeah.
So he decided, let's make a guitar like that. So he made a Telly, the Telecaster. And everybody loved it. But he also was really keen on they'll all be identical. They'll all be good. They'll be easy. And if the neck breaks, take off the 4 screws, put another one on.
Oh.
Gibson, you want to take the neck off of Gibson? It's quite the job.
I see.
Yeah, it's a very high dollar job. But a Fender, 4 screws, boom, 5 minutes, you got another
So
one.
he saw the future.
Big time. Okay. And he loved his little machines he had. And this book is great.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
So that's why if you have the 58, 59 Les Paul, that's the thing.
the 59. That's
59.
the one.
Okay.
That's the one. It's the 1 year. See, the 57 has the humbuckers, but it's a gold top.
Okay.
58 has the sunburst and the humbuckers, but it's got small frets.
Okay.
And the big neck. The 59 has the humbucker, the flame maple top, the big neck, and the big frets. It's the only year. 1960, they slimmed the neck down.
Wow.
And everybody said, I don't like the slim
Who's
taper
taking
neck.
those out? Is Joe Bonamassa
He's
taking
got like
his 59?
8 of them on the
and
road.
He's taking them out?
Steve Lukather said, I just read this the other day. He said, I bought one in a shop in Arizona for $3,000 in 1978. And I was playing it.
Right.
And he said, but when I found out it was worth like $900,000, he goes, I don't take it around anymore. He said, Joe Bonamassa's got like 9 of them on the road with him. Is he crazy? He said, I hope he's got armed guards.
He must.
And lots of insurance. Well, the thing is, the insurance companies don't want to insure the 59 Les Pauls unless they're like in a vault.
So I read that Rick Nielsen, when he has them in storage, but when the value gets too high, Gibson offers him the vault.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean?
There's a vault.
Because you can't afford to insure. So they'll put it in their vault.
That is a fact. That's a fact.
Right?
That's a fact. Yeah.
That's insane.
Paul McCartney has one of the only left-handed 59 Les Pauls.
God.
And he takes it out.
Oh.
And he plays it.
Well,
Who cares? Paul McCartney.
I heard who was
net worth of $60 trillion.
No, I'm trying to remember who I was talking to. I'm so sorry, I can't remember. But somebody was telling me that they did. Oh, it was Matt Starr. He did something for a violin player. They played at Carnegie Hall. He did something behind a violin player.
$3 million Stradivarius.
$3 million Stradivarius. And there were armed guards undercover on the scene.
I believe it.
That somebody is not going to come up with a blow dart and go and then walk off.
Isaac Perlman paid $3.2 million for one.
Wow.
Yeah, and he plays it. He plays it.
But they were like, they let him play this for the thing. But the deal was, you know what I mean? There were dudes lurking.
You got a FBI SWAT team,
Can you imagine?
Men in black hanging around. $3.5 million for a violin. I heard that the Stradivariuses didn't sound very good at first. It wasn't until they aged
Oh.
Because acoustic instruments with thin wood,
Yeah.
they want to get played.
Yeah.
And when Taylor guitars first came out, you got the handbook with the guitar. It said, when you're not playing this, put it in front of a speaker. Play music into it.
Really?
Make it vibrate.
Wow.
It wants to.
Wow.
It wants to find home.
Wow.
And it's true. It's very true. I sold.
That's wild.
You remember Brett?
Yeah.
I sold Brett's dad my Gibson Hummingbird way back when I was moving to LA, and I sold him my Hummingbird for nothing, and he hung it on the wall. Never played one note on it.
Yeah.
Howard told me the other day it's toast. It just exploded. You know, it just fell apart.
You got to keep the molecules moving.
You exactly. Solid body electrics are the same way, man. You don't play them for 3 weeks. They know.
Wow.
Yeah. If I don't play for 1 day, I know.
That's crazy.
If I don't play for 2 days, my kid knows.
Yeah, right.
If I don't play for 2 weeks, the audience knows. Yeah. So I try to play every day. You know?
I hear you.
But yeah, I got all the guitars. I try to rotate them and play them.
Yeah.
I look at my Firebird going, I haven't played you in 3 weeks. I'm sorry.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
Fire. That's cool.
Yeah. And I'll tell you something right now, kids.
Yep.
Epiphone and Squier are making stellar instruments.
Oh, really?
Epiphone has stepped it up a notch because Gibson went over, they fired everybody. They closed the factory
Recently.
2 years ago.
Oh, okay.
And they made a new factory, and they're using all Gibson hardware, Gibson parts, CTS pots, good pickups.
So it ain't the old Epiphone.
No, they're unbelievable. My SG's an Epiphone.
Yeah.
I have a Gibson TK.
I have an Epiphone Thunderbird. It's garbage, but
Oh,
for me,
you got the bolt-on neck one.
Yeah.
That's why.
$150.
Right. My kid, a kid I work with, has the neck through Epiphone
Oh,
Thunderbird.
yeah, sure.
Incredible.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I wouldn't know the difference.
It's like $800.
Yeah.
You know, it's not the $200.
I got it because it was all black.
Yeah. No, I think they're cool though.
Yeah. Well, for me, just a
But
poser.
the Epiphone and Squier, Fender's thing. Fender thought about shutting down Squier like a year ago.
Yeah.
And everything's going to say Fender on it. And they said, no, it's too lucrative of a thing. The new Squiers, I played with Sal Iacobucci at Black Eyed Sally's, and he had this beautiful Lake Placid blue Strat. And I look over at it, and he puts the neck up to me, and he goes, look, it's a Squier.
Oh.
Your kid is a Squier vintage vibe. It's like a $400 guitar.
Oh, wow.
He goes, play this thing.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
nice as any Strat I ever owned.
Yeah.
Unbelievable, $400 guitar.
Hey, that's cool.
Yeah, they're
Figuring it out.
They're making some. There's the factory in Korea or China, the
Yeah.
Court guitars, Court factory.
Okay.
A lot of guitars are coming out of there that they're making for Fender, and they're using that factory. And it's Westheimer is the company. Great guitars.
Wow.
I mean, so kids, you don't have to spend $900 on a Stratocaster anymore.
Well,
You know, you can get a Squier or a Player series.
Right.
And
Right.
they are just as nice
yeah.
as anything. My neighbor was saying, I'm going to buy my kid a guitar. You know, what should I get him? I said, what does he like? He wants a Les Paul. I said, get him an Epiphone Les Paul.
Yeah.
An Epiphone Les Paul, you cannot go wrong. It's like $550. He got it for him for Christmas. He said, the thing's beautiful. I said, no,
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really, really stepped it up. big
Yeah.
time.
You know what happened real
Are they
quick,
still
and then we
making
got
Mexicans?
what?
The Mexican stuff? Yeah, the Mexican stuff is price is going through the roof.
Yeah.
On
Oh,
those
really?
guitars. Yeah. You got guys that
Yeah.
they don't want to part with them. They're
Oh.
really nice.
Okay. So that was a bubble then too.
I had a Mexican Strat. Unfortunately, I sold it, but there was nothing wrong with that guitar.
Yeah.
The one thing shortcoming with all of that stuff is
Yep.
the electronics, the pickups.
Okay.
The electronics themselves, like the pots and the switches and all, are really good stuff now. The pickups, they still, when you play a Seymour Duncan Pearly Gates, like I have in my SG, if you're an experienced player, you know.
Okay.
But to you know a kid that's just
Right.
banging around in bars.
Well, you know,
They're
it's like I
great.
was going to say, like with drums, when I was a kid, you had absolute crap. Like I had drums from J.C. Penney that were CB700. Or leftover, or Vic would give me his cast-offs that were pro. There was nothing in between. Now there's...
Right.
You
Same
can
same
kinda-
when I was a kid.
Right.
When I wanted an electric guitar, my parents bought me a Ventura.
Right.
I'm sure Dave remembers the Ventura.
That's all there
It's
was.
music style. And it was okay. I mean, I could play it. But then when they stepped me up, they bought me a Univox Les Paul copy, which
Right.
I still have.
Oh.
I got it for my 15th Christmas. And the reason I still have it was I sold it to some guy, and a friend of mine found it at a tag sale in 1999 and brought it to me, and he goes, this looks exactly like your old Les Paul. I said, where'd you get it? And he told me the neighborhood, and I said, that's where I sold it to that guy. I flipped it over, and when I was a kid, I used to scratch my initials on the D-string tuner on the back of every guitar. I flipped it over, and there it is, SL on the back of the D-strings. It was my guitar.
That was yours.
He bought it for $20.
Did you ever bring it to my sister's?
No,
You know what I mean?
no.
That's funny.
I got that my freshman year of high school.
Oh, okay.
I was so jazzed, man. I got a Univox Les Paul, man. This thing's so good. And I was playing it through my neighbor's 1964 Fender Basement, which is God tone amp, you know. He's got a 68 or 7,
he's got in the basement, yeah.
I got to look at that again because I forgot to check and see if it's got the black line. Is it a black line?
You know what? Let's end this show so we can
we'll
get
go
on
look.
to the fun.
Yeah, get on to the fun stuff. Looking at gear.
You're late. You're late.
Oh, it's all right.
Wow, okay. You're calling in sick tomorrow.
Time disappears when we do this stuff.
I
It's
know.
like playing music, you know. Time just doesn't happen, you know.
Nope.
All right, so
Element 115, May 30th.
at the Bijou Theater in Bridgeport. Come one, come all, and anybody wants a ticket, get a hold of me. Here, John, as a matter of fact, I'm going to give you a card.
Okay, I'm ready.
It's got all the website information
Okay.
on it. And, oh, no, that's my plumber, sorry.
Imagine
Do
that.
you have gas heat?
What?
Do you have gas heat at your house?
Oh, yeah. Hey.
Best guy in the world.
Okay, good to know.
Ben.
Yeah, that's us.
All right, where's the Element one?
It's so funny. Hey, we're getting...
Here we go. I brought that for you because I said, I wonder if John has a gas furnace.
Element 115, generation to generation.
Ought to be a hoot.
Yep. Bijou Theater, May 30th. Here's all the info in here.
Yep. All the website, the Facebook page, merchandise is all printed up. We'll get coffee cups and hats, and,
Cool.
and we're giving a lot of stuff away.
Cool.
Yeah, we're just promoting this.
Why not?
Well, you have to.
Yeah.
Right? You know?
Yeah.
And it's like, why make people pay for stuff? They don't know who we are yet.
Right.
So,
Right.
You know,
But they will now.
We'll make them, though.
People
And
will
we got a
walk
big
in.
banner for the back of the stage, all kinds of cool stuff.
Cool.
Yeah, they're spending the money, which is awesome, I
All
think.
right, I'll try to be there. Who knows? I don't know. It depends on what day of the week that is, but we'll see.
It's a Friday.
All right.
Yeah, it's Friday night.
All right. You never know. Skip LeClair, thank you once again. I'm glad nobody died.
Oh, yeah, my
that
pleasure,
you're not
man.
here, you know, 'cause,
Yeah.
come back again, obviously.
Yeah, we'll see how this thing goes. Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe I'll have some even better news.
Yeah, well, or have them come in, you know, hook me up with some of your cats. We'll see what happens.
Yeah,
All right?
groovy.
I'm going to press the button.
Press the button.
Skip LeClair's the best. There, I said it.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Yeah, man, of course. John Peckman, the Jonathan Peckman podcast.
Yeah, Jonathan Baker.
That's right. Connecticut Valley School of Music and Dance, beautiful downtown Portland. Go over the bridge, pull a U, we park in front of the music store with the red neon light. We have music lessons here. We have vinyl here. Got all kinds of things you could do here. You could have your own podcast here in our beautiful studio. Dave will tell you how right now. Thank you, Skip LeClair. And we will see you again. That is all.
If you'd like to start your own podcast, give us a call at Connecticut Valley School of Music and Dance. Our professionally designed podcast space is here for all your recording needs. Rent out our studio to do interviews with up to 4 people, to record audiobooks, social media content, and all other recorded material. Our rentals include a private studio along with our professional-grade podcasting equipment, and we can customize your output to whatever your needs are. We also have green screen capabilities, which will expand to video capability if you so wish. So check us out here at convalley.net/podcast.